Good afternoon, and welcome to the Atlanta Post-Polio Annual Business Meeting. Can you all hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's good to see everyone, and I hope you're ready to hear about a lot of the great things we have going on here and what we've had happen this year. What I'd like to do is start with who's in the house. I'm going to go over the agenda and let you know what the day looks like. And then we'll proceed with seeing who's in the room. So, our meeting objectives for today are to present you with the 2018 year-end review and to look at the accomplishments and lessons learned, to share the goals and objectives for 2019, and to celebrate our volunteers. That's something that we really need to do. We're going to start with an opening prayer. We're going to have welcome and introduction of guests and new members. You see the agenda, this overview. You see the President's report. 2019 Marching On, a Volunteer Legacy. Barbara will give the Secretary's report, and Shannon will give the Treasurer's report. We're going to have two panels of the program updates and on the administrative areas for APA. So you can see there are the member services and program services. Old business, our new business program, monthly program topics, particularly with FODAC and the Polio Survivors Conference coming up with Dr. Bruno. And we'll talk a little bit about the Christmas activity and give you information on that. And a little bit on our special needs conference, special needs program, excuse me. I'm going to share with you our meeting schedule for 2019, and we're going to talk about what our needs are and recap the day. If time permits, we'll have open discussion and talk a little bit about what's on your mind and the kinds of things that you'd like to see here and when our next meeting is. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Carol Crumby, for those of you that don't know, and I'm the president of APA. I'm very glad to be here. Can we get who's in the room today and have you introduce yourselves? Okay. So, Allison, can we get a mic? I'm going to start, Rita, why don't we start with you? You have one in your hand.
My name is Rita Carlson, and I do program and public relations.
Thank you.
Did you hear it?
Well, we can hear you. But not magnified.
Rita?
Yeah.
Rita Carlson, and I'm programs and public relations.
Hi, my name is Bernetta Calhoun.
Keep talking now.
Bernetta Calhoun. I'm coming here. This is my second time here in a year.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Oh, where did you hear about us?
I heard from the website.
Oh, good.
From the website and Facebook.
Okay.
You don't do Facebook?
No.
Never
say
They do. Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine, and I am a visitor.
Where did you hear about us?
Burnett is my buddy from California.
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm David Jordan. I'm on the board and have been a member since 1990.
Hey. you.
Ray Fitzpatrick, I'm a holdover from the old Ingrid days.
Wayne Nichols.
James Harrison.
Karen Morgan, I do the database and the treasury.
I'm Joe Rogan. I've been a member since '08.
As president. Barbara Mayer, I'm the secretary.
Belinda Whitaker, I'm just a member.
Charlotte Terry, outreach.
I also am a holdover from memory, back in '87. My name is Alan Mitchell. I had a 10-year hiatus, however.
Thank you.
Vicky Crowell.
I'm Allie Harrison, board member.
Oh, I'm Sandy Harrison, Cooksey.
And in the back of the room is Allison.
Allison is our iPhone technician.
Taking care of our cameras. Thank you. Okay. May I ask someone if they would do the opening prayer, please?
Anyone? Okay, I have the mic. Let us bow our heads. Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to gather in fellowship. And we pray that your presence will be in this meeting so that we can share, encourage, and support one another. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Well, welcome to all the guests and newly returned. We thank you that you've come back to be with us. And I am going to share with you, first of all, the President's year-end review. So, the theme for this year, and you'll hear us talk about over and over again, marching. And what came to mind through several conversations was that, remember the old March of Dimes theory? And we had a March of Dimes, and maybe your parents marched, or your friends or family members or people that you knew marched. Well, I want you to think about those volunteers. And I'm going to go through a little bit of history, not a long, boring piece, but I want you to think about where you were when you hear some of the information that we give forth here. Because we're marching on. The March of Dimes for polio really stopped. They made a shift in what they were focused on. But we continued and found 20, 30 years later, 40 years later, that we were confronting something that no one expected. And so, who's marching now? And I wanted to share with you who's marching now as we march on and you listen to this. So we started out in 2017 responding to a lot of growth and change that we had within the Atlanta Post-Polio Association. And we looked at last year to really build and strengthen and support the future to move forward. And what would we need to do that? And volunteering were one of the things that we know that we need and we looked at. So, the National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, or NFIP, was established in 1938. And the March of Dimes, as we hear it and know about it, was coined by Eddie Cantor. And at that time, when Franklin Delano Roosevelt decided that he was going to really get behind this because he had been affected by polio, he wanted some people to help him. And so the volunteers at that time he called upon were a lot of the celebrities, people in Hollywood, and folks that their name would draw a lot of attention. And he had birthday balls to celebrate his birthday as a fundraiser. And so the reason they got volunteers together is that they wanted people who would help share the word, tell us about what's going on with polio, and they wanted people who could help raise money, who could attract money, and help get the work done. Basil Connor, who helped establish the foundation for the March of Dimes, established chapters all over the country. And this is the short version, okay? But he established chapters all over the country. They were made up of primarily volunteers. And those volunteers actually were the people who went out and got the work done. In fact, Eddie Cantor is the person who coined the phrase, "Join the March of Dimes." So in 1943, they raised a lot of money, and in 1943, the first funding was given to an army section in North Africa that was doing research around polio. And it was working so well that they continued, they started to have more people that they could help, and they had this money for this research and to help individuals. It was at that time that Jonas Salk actually received funding at the University of Pittsburgh. Albert Sabin was one of the people who went to North Africa and was involved in that research study. At that time, in 1946, there was a patient club at the Norfolk Hospital, and that club actually ended up being influential of getting FDR's picture on the dime as a result of the March of Dimes. So you're going to hear me talk about this a little bit more later, but as I thought about this, in 1946, they had this patient group. They looked at the dime was minted. In 1947, which is not on here, is when I got polio. And so putting myself in that scenario, what was really interesting, in 1947 is when I was born. In 1954, the polio pioneer schools were started. And that was a group of schools in Pittsburgh. Those schools started vaccinating children in September of 1954. I got polio in August of 1954. And so when I see that and I think about these things. At that time, also in 1954, my mother was part of a volunteer group that went out with the March of Dimes in the community, and they collected $360 in dimes at that time, in coins that people gave. So I don't know where you are in the timeline, but when you think about when you contracted polio, what was going on at this particular time? It's very interesting that 1954, August, this happened. 1955 is when I had been in the industrial home for crippled children. And that April, I actually came back home at that time. And in 1955, they declared that polio had been effective. It was a safe vaccine. And within a few years, they had decided to change their focus from polio to birth defects. And so where were you in 1958? Where were you in 1955? What kinds of things were happening when you contracted polio? And you think about the people who helped, that went out and were actually involved in volunteering. Now, if you recall, I don't know about you, but in my home, it was they were quarantined when I first contracted polio. And so they were quarantined for several weeks before my family could go out. So even volunteering was something that was difficult for people who were actually touched in some way by this issue, call it. So here I am, 30, 40 years later, looking at post-polio syndrome. So who marches for us now? I think one of the things that's happened is most of us have been very successful in our careers, in our areas, in our work, whatever it is we're doing. So we've learned to do for ourselves quite well. So we continue to march for ourselves. We look at groups like APA or the Polio Health International, or Pennsylvania's Polio Network, and others. But like many of us that have our family members or spouses or friends that support us also, and they're marching on with us now. Our medical providers, as you can see, Dr. Strasser here, and the people here at Shepherd Center. They're marching with us, and our friends who support us, whether they're giving of their time, their talent, or their treasure, are supporting us also. So volunteers are very important. What I'd like you to do, we're going to hear in a little bit from the people who have been volunteering, the board members and others. I want each of you to think about, when you come up, you're going to talk about what you're doing, but who's volunteering and working with us now? Who is our support system that you're working with now? I just shared, some of you have seen my mom or my sister out here working with me. They're marching with me. I have friends, I have family who have stepped up to the plate and marched with us now. We need to look at and identify and recognize and thank those individuals also. So that is what we like to do, and you'll see this theme played throughout the year as the activities. So for those of you that are going to speak, I'd like to ask you to think about, who has worked with you that you would like to give just some recognition or some, bring their names up now as you think about this. So I'd like to recognize first our board. As I told you, self-talk is good sometimes too, so you have to march and do some things yourself. But the first vice president, Rita Carlton, Rita, second vice president, David Jordan. David, you hold your hand up here so people know you again. Our secretary, Barbara Mayer. Thank you, Barbara. Our treasurer, Shannon Morgan. Thank you, Shannon. Our member advocate is not here currently, but her name is Pat Harris. Our staff director has also not here. She's been ill, but her name is Leslie Chauvin. Our parliamentarian, right here, Alan Mitchell. And our registration director, where is she? As Allie Harrison. Thank you, Allie. We have a number of other people who have been involved with us and volunteering and helping make it happen. Our nominations, chair has been Charlotte Terry. Charlotte. Our photographer and taking care of a lot of our photography is Vicki Kroll. Vicki. And Allison has done some of that also. Our artwork is Kathy McIntyre, who is not able to be with us today. Our members' services, are you going to hear from those individuals in just a minute when I bring them up. I'll introduce those individuals to you. The administrative people, operations, and a number of miscellaneous things that we ask people to do, and they just step up to those places. So, we have a special volunteer, which you're going to hear from in a little while after we talk about the activities we have going on. But I would like you to know that Wayne Nichols, do you believe that? Wayne Nichols is going to be talking to us about some really special activity. So, and we want to thank everybody who's out to support us, because if you weren't here, we couldn't do this. I'd like to also mention this past year, we lost a couple of volunteers or members. You saw this earlier in the year, we lost Bonnie Burnham. Yeah. Is that right?
Should be Bonnie.
B-O-N.
Oh, okay, Bonnie. Oh, sorry, thank you. I'll correct that. And Bonnie is was a past president of APA and very well thought of. And the spouse of a polio survivor, Gordon Henderson, also passed this past year. So our member services are our newsletter, our website, our Facebook, programs that we have, the directory that we offer our members, outreach, social activities like our Christmas party, special programs, one-time activities such as Warm Springs this past year, and that's our group at Warm Springs. Administrative activities that we cover, and you'll hear more about all these things shortly. You'll just have to listen to me the whole time. As our legal responsibilities, Polio Health International membership, our database, our financial management, our board responsibilities, our bylaws, our record-keeping activities, attendance at all of our meetings and activities, our protocols and practices. Our operations support is our public relations work to let people know who we are and what we're about, and our fundraising activities to support the activities that we have, and the artwork for the various activities we have going on, like our invitations, like our brochures and things like that. It's actually a person that's doing these things and putting these things together. So all of these are just wonderful volunteers. Income sources are from the dues. We have 7 levels of membership. You'll hear more about that when you hear the treasurer, but there is your family, your individual, your family, your bronze, silver, gold, platinum, life members. Yeah, so that we have. And donations come from gifts from estates, friends, supporters, and the events that we have also are another source of income. Our method of payments are cash, check, PayPal, credit card, money order. We take all of those things and we receive it through the mail. We deliver them through the website, Facebook, and our information is distributed through our brochures, our website, our newsletter, and various media. So we're so glad that the media worked for you and that you found out about us. So that's exactly what we want to happen and hear about. And you'll hear more about what happened with the statistics and those things shortly. So last year we wanted to improve our benefits, enhance some things. You see them all listed here. I'm not going to go through all of those things, but those are the things that we wanted to address last year. Our benefits as well as our costs. Are people using these things? Are they satisfied with them that we're offering to our members and to the public? And are we able to raise our money and get the work done that we need to do? And so we looked at what we need to do in terms of our handling our costs. We dealt with unexpected costs and those kinds of things this past year, and growing pains. And so we looked at what can we do to make those changes. What we told you we were going to do was we were going to tighten our spending, redirect our membership donations, and fundraise limited, and we did all of those things. And then we asked, what can you do as members? And what happened is they increased giving. You see what happens when you hear a report. Introduced new members, served as a voice for APA, we volunteered, we provided feedback and solutions to the issues. So that's my report to you in terms of who we are, what our direction is, what our focus is, and the kinds of things that we're trying to accomplish. At this time, I would like to call up the program of the services. Oh, no, I'm sorry. At this time, I'd like to call up the Barbara Mayer, Secretary, all of you should have received the minutes. Okay, and if you had a chance to look at those, Barbara?
Well, these are the minutes from the 2018 annual business meeting, which I'm sure you all remember. And if there are no questions, I just would ask someone to pose a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
All those,
No, if there's no discussion, all those who approve the minutes, raise your hands. And all those who oppose? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you. Okay. We are going to have the treasurer's report, and then after the treasurer's report, I'm going to make a switch if you don't mind, because we have asking Lane to go to some of the new business first, because he has to be clear. And so I want to make sure, so do we have enough time to do? Shannon, can we, how long do you think it will take to do the treasury?
Just a few minutes.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
So you
Thank
want me
you.
to proceed?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody should have received a printout. First page says summary 2018. Did everybody get with it? No, you did? Okay. So I do the treasurer. I keep track of everything in an Excel spreadsheet, and there's what I'm giving to you is not full, complete details, which I do have printed out just when I file them away. So if you have any questions and you want something is not looking right, please let me know. I do not get offended if somebody says, you made a mistake or you left something out. So down in the bottom of each page, you'll see in ink, where the pages are numbered. So that first page shows a summary for 2018. And column B has what we're budgeting for it. Column C has what we actually brought in. Column D has the difference. Membership donations, you can see we had a good year for it, $4,095. We had budgeted $2,468, and what the board had decided 3 years ago, to take the amount of what we had actually brought in the previous year, and that would be our budget for the next year. So 2017, our membership was donation to $2,468. 2018, it was $4,095. The holiday party meals, you can see we brought in a lot. We had a lot of people. I believe this was the largest we've ever had. We had a lot of guests. We do end up subsidizing. When you're paying for your meal, you're not paying the full cost. So you'll see down in the further along in this report where holiday party meals is on a separate line item. That's for the cost of it, the actual cost of it to us. We earned, on line 5, you'll see we earned the princely sum of 83 cents interest for the year. Contributions to SNAF, Special Needs Assistance Fund, were $3,991. So the money that is designated for SNAF, when somebody is doing a membership donation, that goes to our operating expenses, newsletter, printing, party, whatever, everything else. When people make a donation through any other source, such as an estate donation or a company donation or whatever, Georgia Gives, that is designated for the SNAF fund. So you can see we had a total income for the year of $8,968.83. And then the rows 10 through 20, just as a comparison shows where the SNAP fund was standing for the last, since we started keeping this, 2011. And then rows 22 down showed the expenses. And so, as you can see, under administrative, we have sub-accounts. So when somebody submits a receipt to me for payment, then I have to figure out which account and sub-account this goes under. And we really did do a good job this year of holding our costs in. So you could see that there's a positive under administrative. Database, there's a positive, meaning we spent less than we were budgeted for. Holiday party, again, we did very well. And the newsletter, we had originally, and have left it there, the budget for $2,000. And in that, when we had set that budget, there were 4 issues, which had dropped down to 3. So that's why there's such a discrepancy between what we had budgeted and what we actually spent. So if you flip that page over, we go to outreach. We did spend a little more for outreach, partly because greeting cards were on sale. So Pat went ahead and bought the greeting cards for 2019, but the expense was actually in 2018, so it's showing up on here. President, again, we held our costs in. Programs, we haven't actually had an expense for programs in many years, but we just keep that on the budget just in case. Public relations, same thing. Rita's not asked for any money for it. She's not having expenses. Fundraising, bank charges on row 77. Those aren't really bank charges. When somebody makes a donation, either membership or for SNAP through PayPal or through Click and Pledge, there's a fee deducted. So that totals $68.79 for last year. So if you're donating $25, a couple dollars of that goes to the fee. Secretary, all right, Barbara's always 000. Social activities, we have budgeted 450. We did not spend any on social activities. We did not do our bingo last year, but we have an idea for that. Special event is going to be, well, we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Treasurer, I bought some ink, so that's under there. So line 99 has the total expenses. All right, any questions on that section? I know that there's a lot of information, and you'll need to look at this more carefully and see what to absorb it. Somebody, you can call me or email me if you need to. All right. The second page has the summary for 2017, if anybody wants to do a comparison. Page 3 has annual budgeted income and in columns A and B for 2018 and for 2017. And then columns D, E, and GH have our budgeted expenses. Again, I've put 2018 and 2017 in there for your comparison and for historical purposes. So page 3A, the next page, has this is kind of a carryover from the summary page where it details it out exactly what we're budgeting. Okay, the next page, page 4, has a pivot table. for expenses and income. So columns A and B are the expenses, and it shows, for instance, it takes on my one spreadsheet, I don't know if you're familiar with pivot tables, but it would take my spreadsheet where I had it all in there by calendar year, and it pulls out, oh, well, administrative, you spent $30 for the core registration, $120 for the PHI dues, etc. So we can see how each category is spending their money. And then the same thing, columns D and E has for the income. Just breaks it down a little bit. Okay, the next page, page 5, is a balance sheet that I keep, and it's been on here since 2010, which is when I took over the treasury, just to kind of see what our checking account, savings account looks like. So you can see right now, our checking account is, this is as of December 31st. Okay, there's been more activity on the accounts, but I haven't, this is not included on these sheets. So our checking account has $10,011.35. And our savings account has $7,954.15. Outstanding checks or payments are $427.27. So I do not have the SNAP funds in a different, separate account. We're not earning money on the savings account as it is anyway. So when we start dispersing that income, we'll make a determination at that point as if we want to have a third account. So that should do it. Any questions, comments, corrections? Oh, I did not talk. I need to do this because I meant to. We've had some extra income this year that was nicely received and very unexpected. 2 checks we have received from Turner Broadcasting System. Thank you, Connie. For a total of $476. We've also already gotten another check this year, and again, that's not on this report. We got from an estate. We were gifted $1,000 to the state of Alice Dean Felton. We've gotten some money through Facebook, not a whole lot, less than $100, but Cheryl Hollis was having her birthday, and she did something on Facebook. I never figured out what she did. I don't really do Facebook. To say to her friends, hey, don't give me a birthday present, make a donation to AMPA. So that was very nice. And then we also had somebody give us a donation through Network for Good, which Carol and I are going to be looking into to see how we can capitalize on that. So if you know of these other ways for us to get income, that might be something for you to share with us.
Shannon, let me ask you about, what did you decide about the, these special events?
Well, that's on 2019 budget.
Oh, okay.
So actually.
Well, you made a statement about it, and so you said you could come back.
You know what? Can I not print out 2019?
Isn't that what 3A is?
3A. Thank you, Laura. Got it. That's one.
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Well, that would say it's 2019, but let's see. No, the special event still says 0 on here.
No, my 3A is the special event 2000.
So this is really just looking back at the 2018 year, but not the budget for 2019, right?
No, maybe I got it. shebang, 3A. Okay. Okay, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. This year, we've had, some of our expenses rise, like the post office box every year, that goes up. The web goes up every year. We, as a board, we voted for 2 additional budget items this year. One is the special event, just in case, and this is a just in case, $2,000, row 74, in case we need to have any expenses incurred from Dr. Bruno's conference. And then also, it was decided to, on line 44, there's a discretionary fund for the president. It's $1,000 a year, but the way that the motion was made was that it would be $250 a quarter. And the president at the end of each quarter would provide a report and receipts and everything, and then would get reimbursed at that time. So our total budgeted expenses went, if you look on line 81, went to $9,090, and then as opposed to $5,815 that we had for last year.
So we'll make it 999 or 81. 81 on page 3A.
3A, line 81, says total budgeted expenses, $9,090. And some of that reflects expenses that just keep rising. But $3,000 of that money is for these extra things. Hopefully we're not gonna be spending that, you know, it's just a just in case, for especially for Dr. Bruno's, but we just need to be aware, you know, of those monies.
I think what we can do is we'll make that 2019 budget available to people, maybe so that they'll have it in their hands like they have this.
It is in here, 3A. 3A.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. And so, can I have a motion? Are there questions on the budget?
Have to have a motion before you have questions and discussion. I so move to accept the report as submitted.
I second.
You second?
Now we can have.
Now you can discuss all your motions.
Okay, I can't hear you that way. Okay, so it's been moved and second. May I have the vote?
Wait, question?
Questions? There are no questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? And the abstaining? Okay, and the motion carries. Thank you. All right, so thank you, Shannon, for that report. And I'm going to ask the panel to hold, and I'm going to ask Wayne to come up, if he would. On your agenda, you'll see that we have a special event coming up, the Polio Survivors Conference with Dr. Richard Bruno. And I'm going to let Wayne, he came up to me and said, hey, Carol, how can we do this? And so I said, it's going to be work to do something like this. And he said, I'm ready. So here he is, and thank you, Wayne, for taking on this activity.
I apologize for cutting in like this, but a friend of my wife took me out at the airport. She lands at 2. So, but anyhow, I forgot the date that we, and it's the last meeting, I guess it was, that we talked about Dr. Bruno.
Oh, yes, in November.
The November meeting. I didn't know the man until I was on a cruise and ran into another survivor, and she mentioned his name. Looked him up, and whoa, this guy's interesting. And then his name came up in the meeting, and I said, hey, what do we do about this guy? Well, then I was asked to kind of look at heading this up and see about inviting him for a conference. Not knowing what I was getting into, I said, sure, why not? It has been a challenge. It has been a real challenge, but it's been a lot of fun doing it. I want to thank Carol and Rita in particular. I mean, they've been the backbone of this thing. Without their support and their help and information, I couldn't have gone forward. We have Allison, who has just been dynamite, updating the website, going back and forth on that. So if you're not aware, we went live 2 days ago with the website announcing the conference. Since that time, it was told to me that the conference would be great, but it cannot bear any cost to APA. I said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do about getting sponsors. To date, we have a commitment of approximately $3,800 towards this conference. We're here, I came in here and measured this building, and we can approximately sit 180 people. Originally, we were going to put tables in, but they took too much room. But we can get about 180 people. So it will be limited seating, and that is what the website says on registration. Now, on the registration, this registration is open for 1 week for the Apple members to get first right of refusal. We want to make sure that every Apple member that wants to come to this conference gets a seat, if they will so.
Current member.
Current members, pardon me. The cost is $15 on this, because there will be an expense to bring in Dr. Bruno. What we're figuring on is that our cost will be approximately $4,900. And that's even has a miscellaneous of $500 in there, or who knows. That includes bringing Dr. Bruno in, his hotel, all the expenses necessary. Now, the only thing we don't have a final cost on is Nick Shepard. If they're willing to give us the facilities, or let us use the facilities. So,
Wayne?
yes.
Before you continue, maybe not everybody knows who Dr. Bruno is. I know you said you met him.
No, I haven't met him.
Okay, well, you.
But I've spoken to him.
He's a polio survivor, and he has spoken internationally on polio and post-polio.
Please.
Dr. Bruno is a physician with well, I don't know if he's a physician, but he is a polio survivor and has an expertise in polio and post-polio, and has spoken a number of times at international polio conferences, and it's a big feather in our cap to be able to have him come and speak to us. That's all I wanted to say.
For those who are familiar with Dr. Strasser, Dr. Strasser looks up to the guy.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we are in the process, and I did send an invitation for Dr. Strasser as an honorary guest. Honorary guest. Anyhow, like I said, the website is up, which is just good news, just good news. Now, we're hoping to build a place. And like I said, pretty active members here, First Right. And then we're going to reach out to Southeast. We have a number of associations that we can reach out to and send the invitation out to them. As far as sponsorship is concerned, currently, I've sent out letters to approximately 8 different companies, local and national companies that are affiliated with equipment that we purchase, wheelchairs, aesthetics, what have you. I have not heard back from any of them, but I'm sure someone's going to come into that. We have also we have applied at 6 different organizations for grants, which that has probably been the hardest thing I've ever done. UPS, Georgia Power, Coca-Cola, Pfizer, Georgia Pacific, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I have not heard back from you because I just started this because we didn't have all the details as far as the website being up and the final details on how we were going to try and do this. So hopefully we've met the criteria of each and every one of them. So hopefully they'll go ahead and pitch in on this one. The letter that I've sent out is our goal was to raise $15,000. That would help support our members in one form or another. So hopefully the goal can be met with these grants and along with these other donors that can come in, sponsors. The sponsors will have the opportunity to have a table and display their products if they care to. So we're just waiting to hear back from them. I'll be doing some follow-ups next week with them. So other than that, we're just praying we have a full house, and we're going to get the sponsors and the grants that we're looking for. If that's the case, then it'll be a good thing for everyone.
And Wayne, I registered online. It was very easy
Good.
and quick.
Thank Allison.
Yes.
He did that.
Yeah, I thought, well, I better try this out, and before I know it, I'm paying my money. So, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Because Alan was the first one, you were the second one, Barbara, and so.
Carol, turn it on.
Okay.
Turn it on. Stop.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Alan was the first one and Barbara was the second one to sign up online. We have approximately 12 people who have showed interest either signed up already or online. And that was when I checked yesterday early. So thank you. David? I just want to ask.
It's on.
I just want to ask who the date was for this conference.
Oh, that's right. Sorry about that. It's May 4th. That was the only available date that Dr. Bruner had, which really pushed us quite a bit. We were hoping to do it in August or September to give us more time to put this together, but it kind of put us in a fast track mode. So, but May 4th, it'll be between 1 and 4 p.m. Sorry. Well, 12 is the registration time.
We'll have food.
We'll have some refreshments here. So, yeah, so it's, and again, all the sponsors will be recognized. We'll have a program and also we'll have a banner made and their logos will be on there. So, as they give, please keep them in mind for supporting them.
Okay. Also, there is a new medical director here at Shepherd Center. Most of you know Dr. Donald Leslie was the previous medical director, and many people had him as their doctor. We have a new medical director, and he will be here giving opening remarks at our activities. So that's really good, especially considering Shepherd Center has another big activity going on that same day. But it won't be here. It's outside of the Shepherd Center. So what we need from you is, how many are planning on attending? Great, great. We need you to share that with other members and let them know. We will need help, I'm sure, with certain activities as we go forward and we put the program together. And so we will be looking for your support in terms of the delivery of this, especially in that we'll have guests from out of town that will be here. And we want to make sure that we're a warm, friendly group to welcome them here in Atlanta and at the Shepherd Center. Won't be anything like the Super Bowl activity, but it'll be pretty special. So we'll be looking to call on you and find out. We'll let you know there are different things that we need that you can help us partake in that. I want to thank Wayne for stepping up and doing this also. That has been just really terrific, and working with you has been great. So I want to thank you also, our team, Allison and Rita. And this is the kind of thing when I said, when you come up here, you can recognize the people who have been working with you and helping you. And Shannon, I forgot to ask you that also, but I know that you call on certain folks to help, and this is an opportunity to give them a shout out.
Not for the
treasury.
treasury.
Volunteers also.
I'll talk about that one, about the database.
Oh, okay.
I don't have help with the treasury.
Okay, then, thank you. All right, so, any questions?
Thank you.
Good luck at here.
Yeah. That's exciting, isn't it? I can't wait to meet Dr. Bruno. Do you have his book? Does anyone have his book? One of the things we're going to try to do is give him time if he wants to sign books. We'll have this room set up very nicely and give him and you an opportunity to have some one-on-one talk with him also.
Do we want to have copies?
Pardon me?
Do we want to have copies for sale?
That is something that we might want to consider. In fact, Dr. Bruno said that sometimes the groups, when they do purchase books, that they sell and he can sign at that time. So that'll be something for us to talk about, I think, as the board and if the membership says that's something that they might like to do. Let's consider that. Good for fundraising. He did say he would adjust that, so we can market it at retail. Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go back. So let's have member services. If I can ask Rita, I have a report for Pat, Joe, Allison. I have a report for Lynn and Alan. If you will come up and have a seat up front here. As I said, one of the things that you're going to hear about is the work, but also those volunteers march on and help us do the work. And so I'm going to start off with Rita and programs. We'll go next to Joe with the news. Joe, okay. And then after Joe, Alan, if you talk about the directory, and then last I'm going to have Allison, and then I will close out with Pat and Len's reports to you. Okay?
Well, thanks so much for the privilege of being able to do programs, because there's really a lot of things going on now, and it's kind of, I enjoy sharing some of this information. I go to the senior center, and I learn a lot there through the extension agent from the University of Georgia. And anyway, it's a privilege for all of this. If you have any ideas you want me to present for programs, we'll work it in through rap sessions or whatever. Now, March, we have FODAC program, and I just had the lady from the FODAC has said that, you know, the program clarification is getting ready, and they're going to have that walk in May 4th. And I told Vicki about that. In April, we're going to have a representative from Georgia Tech on braces and what have you, and a little rap session. In May, of course, is Dr. Bruno. In June, we're going to have hopefully a pulmonary doctor. And if that doesn't work out, we're going to have a discussion on cancer, eating for cancer, you know, when you have cancer and some of the programs. And this is from the University of Georgia extension agent, and it's based on all the research that's going on. And she would like to come and talk to us. In August, we're going to have a program on arthritis. And in September, we want to have another Medicare update. And then in October, we're going to have a musician. It's a music group. Actually, she's a member of this group, and her group goes out and does anything like for assisted living and that. And she herself is handicapped, so it's a perfect example of what you can do even though you're handicapped. And then we'll probably have something on that cancer if the June program isn't complete, or something else that might be involved for cancer or nutrition. In November, we'll have probably book reviews, annual meetings, in our rap session, and then in December is a Christmas party. And I thought that I would share some of this information that I got from our extension agent. And this is telling about green tea. And so I'm going to ask that this goes on the website, and I have her permission as long as we give credit to whoever put it out. And it said it's widely linked to lowering the risk for cardiovascular diseases, regulating blood sugar, and promoting digestion. And let's see. And we have all the different various teas: green tea, black tea, and white tea. And I actually went out and got some of the white tea because I didn't know there was a white tea. And I went to the Korean market, and I had my little tea the other day, and is it ever good? Anyway, that one promotes anti-obesity and antioxidant. And like black tea, for example, decreases blood pressure. And green tea regulates body temperature, blood sugar, and promotes digestion. And anyway, it's a lot of fun to do this, and I hope you all will be interested in listening to some of this stuff and learning so that we can help each other.
Rita, can I ask you to also just mention like what this past year was like in terms of programming and how?
Oh gosh, I gave my report. Well, first of all, the trip to Warm Springs was the outstanding trip. And then, of course, we had the Jimmy Carter program on, including all the interesting things from FDR. We had book reports. the brain train, and that was outstanding. Actually, that was on TV, the 700 Club, the author of that, and some of the programs that were associated with proper eating. And then, of course, we had our usual Medicare update, and of course, information from literacy, the library services that are available. And then, of course, Belinda, we had a report from traveling when you're handicapped in Europe. And then, of course, we had Belinda when her wheelchair stopped.
My name's Barbara.
Barbara, excuse me. And
I know we look alike.
oh no, I was thinking of Belinda when I was saying Belinda's wheelchair stopped.
When her wheelchair broke.
Yeah, her wheelchair broke, and how the person that helped her get herself going again. And I'm trying to.
A yoga, in a yoga session.
Oh, they had the yoga chair, which is another thing I need to bring out. If anybody thinks we should do that yoga chair again, that we should have that going, and we can include it in the program. And then, of course, we'll try to have some of the little tech suggestions as we learn something about new apps or what have you. So we'll work in all kinds of things. I was trying to think what else we did. In July, we don't have a meeting. And we had our Christmas program, which was a success. And I think that's about it.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Joe? Thank you.
I'm Joe Drogan. I have retired as the APA newsletter editor. I just wanted to thank APA for giving me the opportunity to be the editor of that thing for all these years. Certainly would be remiss if I didn't give credit to all of the people that are on the proofreading staff that actually made me look like I know what I'm doing during this effort. What I should probably do is publish some of the initial ones before the proofreaders got a hold of them, so you can see the difference between what I think is a proper newsletter and what the proofreaders actually created when they were finally done correcting all the stuff that I had done wrong. And certainly I want to give credit to all the people in APA that have written for the newsletter over all these years too. There was an awful lot of those people as well. This past year, 2018, I only produced 2 issues, a spring and a summer edition. But in total, there was 52 pages, so it's kind of like 3 smaller editions. But in that, I want to certainly give credit for Barbara, because that helped me with the one of the issues, Barbara's article about traveling through Europe, with all the pictures and all that, filled up an awful lot of pages. There's a lot of writing I didn't have to do, so that was certainly appreciated. I'd also like to go on record, I dropped out again. Go on record as saying that I was under budget for the year, but that may only be because we only had 2 issues instead of 3. But I was like $500 or $600 under budget, which is always nice. I have several of the spring editions with me. If anybody has not yet seen one or wants to have another copy of it, I've got a few of those to hand out. Unfortunately, for some unknown reason, the second issue, the summer edition that announced my retirement, was particularly popular. I'm not sure if there's a message in there or what. But because of that, I only have one of those left, and that's the one that goes into my file cabinet. But if you do need or want to read them, they're also posted on the website too, so you can always go to the website to read them. I guess that might be the shortest report. Took me longer to get up here than the report took, but it's okay.
Thank you so much, Joe. I really appreciate your work.
I forgot to tell you that but I also do the phone line, and then I respond. I check daily in the mornings, and then I check, and then I respond to the people that are calling on the line. I don't have as much response as I used to, but there's generally something different going on all the time. And we responded by sending brochures and just general information about our programs that are forthcoming. And it's kind of a fun thing to do because I get to talk to people and get up to date on some of their interests. And then I submit information to the news media.
Alan, thank you.
Well, I don't have anybody to thank because I haven't done anything. Those of you who know me, I started in '87. And I was a newsletter editor, did the directory, and How many of y'all remember the memories book? Just one or two. Well, if you want to know what the memories book was, go on the web. Allison was great to get it published. I gave him the information, and overnight it showed up on the website. So the memories book is there. We're going to do a directory. Joe was kind enough to give me a copy of his apps and his processes and procedures. But we need for you to do your part of it. You need to go ahead and make your donation to APA. You can do that on the website. You can do that with a check handed to somebody, which is, by the way, better for us. There's a number of ways you can make a donation. Please do so that your name goes in the directory. We're going to try to do 2019 in the directory of 2019. So we need for you to get your name on the list. Also, if there's any corrections to your data, go on the website and correct that also. There is a place to click and change your information. Please do so. It would be easier than trying to go back and correct it later on. So we are going to try to have a directory. I think the process will work if you all will work your part of it also. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're saying, this is news to me, that you can go online and make any updates to your contact info. How does that information supposed to come to me?
At this Allison.
We'll make sure. We really haven't used it that much yet, so.
Oh, okay, so I'm not
Yeah.
missing anything yet?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so, but we'll go back and look at that and try to send that. And because I think that information goes directly to the APA email. That one doesn't, okay.
Okay, miss.
No, I don't know. I just saw the link.
I'll wait for
I
further word
clicked on
then.
it, and it looked like it would update, but I didn't go into how it worked.
Okay,
We'll get back to you.
okay.
Make sure. Okay. Anything else? That's it. That it? Okay, thank you, Alan. Allison. Can you get Allison on here? He's trying to sit back there behind that camera.
While Carol is bringing up the website information, not to push anybody, not to press anybody, but to register for the conference is a pretty user-friendly process. It's mobile or smartphone ready. So if you want to do it now, since I'm here, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and register. And if for some reason you want to back out of it at any point, we can refund your money. So I just want to put that plug in the event you want to do it now. If you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them for you. There is a section that asks if you're a polio survivor or not. And if you select yes, it will allow you to put in your polio affiliation, organization affiliation, and your name. We do need that information. Some of the ones that have registered already, I didn't see any of that information there, but we do need that information so that we can make sure that the name tag tents, name cards, or whatever we're going to use for the meeting will be correct.
Question? When does the 1 week end for Apple members?
It opened Thursday, so I would imagine next Thursday or maybe Friday, and then we'll be ready. Over. Yes.
And you said you can register online via the, you just go to the,
Well, no, you proved my point because it is smartphone friendly.
Well, Allison, I'm kind of surprised because I know I put in my name and the line of Post-Polio.
Yes.
So if you didn't see it, there's somewhere it's in there.
I will go back and look.
Yeah, I can too.
Okay.
I saw it.
Okay.
I know who went in because of that. Run straight to the app.
Okay, that works for me.
So ask another question.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have to, if you want to register multiple people, you do it.
There is a section to register for 2 people, but that's the most, if you're going to do beyond 2 people, then yes, you will need to go back and do another registration. We're just going to go over some of the activity that's been on the website to see how people are using it, if they're using it at all. On the front end of this, we will see that we do have users that do use the website, and the preferred method of using it is the desktop site, which lets me know that people prefer to be home using the site rather than mobile. Most of the people. So if you look at it over the course of the year, we've had 62 users, which is not a lot, but it lets us know that the website itself is gaining a little bit of traction. Not surprisingly, most of the activity is in the United States. However, we do have a fair amount of traffic coming from France, which I was a little bit surprised when I did this analysis. So I just want to let you know that the activity coming from around the world, we're getting some visibility, and people are starting to use the site a little bit more as opposed to the previous year. I don't have those numbers, but I do know that each year the numbers do go up. One of the important things is to see how people are using the site and how much time they spend on a particular page. And a lot of people use it to pay for their registration or to pay for their membership, I'm sorry. But we have a fair amount of activity going to resources, and then on the resource page, it lists information for polio survivors where they can get access or information for maybe products, just general information for health and things like that. So the time spent on the page, it's not a lot of time. It's usually between 2 to 4 minutes. But what it helps me to do and helps me present to the board is if we can tailor those pages where people tend to spend most of their time with information that pleases them, then maybe we can get more activity to the site. That's what this kind of information lets us know, and that's what I wanted to pass along to you. One individual posted to me, said, well, somebody can open the page and just leave it open and it still registers time. That's absolutely true. We don't know that. All we know is that the amount of time that they're spending on the page is somewhere between 2 to 4 minutes. What they're actually doing on the page, I don't know that information. Does anyone have any questions about the web page and how it's being used? Well, thank you.
It's really good to get a report like that, to get an idea of where the information is coming from, how it's being used. One of the things that we know from feedback, we didn't share this at the time, but you did get feedback from some of the people about what they liked, or I guess kind of a rating in some of those programs. So it was interesting. Allison shared with the board that one of the things that people really liked was one of the sessions I happened not to be here for. I was out of town, but it was the musicians that came to visit. We were all very surprised, but that was something that was well received. In fact, Vicki introduced that gentleman. His wife had polio, and he wrote a book about her, and he had a concert, like a little mini concert here. And so that was really good to hear that people actually are commenting on, some of the things and what's happening.
Carol, I do have one more thing. I didn't add this in there, but it's the videos that we upload as a result of the meetings. We do get some activity, not so much viewers during the time we're having the meeting. We don't have any streamers right now, and that's typically what happens. However, once we're done streaming, the videos are uploaded to YouTube, and that's where we see more activity. Any meeting can garner between 30 to 50, 60 viewers over the course of a month or a couple of months. People go back and look at it. One of the things that we've heard was that the video quality isn't that good. However, people do tend to go back and look at it after the fact, not so much during the streaming. So I did want to pass that along to you as well.
Thank you.
We just tried it on Charlotte's smartphone.
Yes, sir.
The float coming in on the desktop, the float comes in about 3/4 of a second. Here it's taking almost 8 seconds to float in, so she was missing registration.
Okay.
So
Easy fix. Gotcha. That's one of the other reason we open it up to you, so that we can work out some bugs before it actually goes to the broader public. There's a plaque that comes up to let us know specifically about the conference, and it's not along the side, and it takes a little bit longer than it should to come in.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We are listening, taking information back to see what we can do to improve, and also to let the board know what is going on with our information and how we can use it. So thank you. I want to share with you the end of year report for the member advocate. And that is Pat Harris. She submitted this report. She gives recognition to those volunteers that are working with her: Charlotte Terry, Billy Pond, and Gloria Mims. Each month they make approximately 20 calls to homes of individuals who can't get out for some reason. So Charlotte, would you like to add anything to that?
I'd just like to say most of those are the ones that's not on email.
Would you?
They're not on email. They don't have contact, but they do get newsletters.
Okay. New members this year, there were 8 new members. You see them, the names on the board here, on the screen. She gave out 9 welcome packets. She sent out, or the team sent out 163 cards. This has been very well received by members. They like being recognized for birthdays and anniversaries and sympathy cards. And we've added now the thank you cards. And she was also instrumental in working with Rita on the Warm Springs surveying for the carpooling, and also she said there's a total of 20 individuals who attended this with family, friends, and members, and it was well received. Our plans for the new year is to continue to hand out the information packets and send out the various cards to the members, and that's respectfully submitted. Okay. Any questions on it? Okay. Also, I have the information from Facebook. This is for this past month. It says that there were 158 people
Having trouble hearing you.
We can't hear you.
You can't hear you when you turn away from the microphone.
Sorry. I have to turn out a little because it's blurry on the screen here. But, let's see. Okay, that's it. So, I just have to, I'll show you these numbers, but I'm not sure how to explain all of these to you, unfortunately. But there was 158 people that was reached this past this past year, 27 in the last 90 days. And 12 event responses in 2 in the last 90 days. We haven't sold anything online yet. And people were inquiring about events. I will say that I've had several inquiries on Facebook about our organization that have been referred to me by Lynn. Lynn Fresco is the daughter of a polio survivor, Joan Adams. Okay. And she has been there, she's the caretaker for her mom. And so she agreed to step up and volunteer to do our Facebook for APA. And so, Joan, if you're listening or if you look at this later, we just want to say thank you. She has been very diligent about posting our information on Facebook. And as I said, we do receive several inquiries from her. And so we are looking at, not only issues, but compliments, and people who are able to contact us. Also, if you haven't seen her Facebook, if you haven't seen that page, she has provided the page really has the old website, almost skyline that used to be on our website. This is our Facebook page for APA. Okay, and so that information is from Lynn, and we thank her. Okay, any questions on programs or the type of programs we have? As you can see, we have a lot going on here, a lot of activity. So I'm going to ask the I'm going to ask the program support Shannon, Rita, to talk about the public relations piece, and Allie, ask you to come up to talk about the registration. And I'll give you information about fundraising. Shannon, why don't we begin with you?
All righty.
Thank you.
A couple of things about the database. Thank you, Alan, for putting the plug in, for making sure that we have everybody's correct information, that they're current. In the database, we never delete any records. We'll change their status. So the number of people that we have in the database is 609. Last year, we had 601, so that kind of looks like, oh wow, we've got 8 new members. But the problem is, we had many people, unfortunately, have passed on. They're deceased, or will get mailings back, and I try to contact that person either by phone or email or something to see, hey, what's going on? Why is this bouncing back? Or Postal Service getting, returned mail. If I cannot find that person, I'll mark them inactive. Those two categories are growing. They're growing faster than member list. Speaking of our new members, my numbers are a little different from Pat's. Pat was looking at like the number of people she's sending cards to. So I looked at her list that she had, and two of them were a mother-daughter team. So that's one membership, as opposed to two separate people. Also, one of the people that she had listed is a comp member, complimentary. So we don't count that as an active membership. One of the things that I've noticed is the database has so much outdated information in it. And I had been aware of this for some time, but one of the things that mailings that got returned last year, it turned out that the person that it was mailed to had died in 2010. And so we have decided that we are going to take all of the people listed in the directory that aren't already inactive or deceased. So all of the different individual levels and groups. Anybody that has not paid their membership at least through 2015, we're going to be Alan Mitchell and Pat Harris and I are going to be contacting these people, trying to validate their information, tell them about the visit to Kodak, tell them about Dr. Bruno. We can't, seeing if these people are still interested at all, updating the database. I'm suspecting most of these people will be marked as inactive. We are not beginning this. We were kind of waiting for the Dr. Bruno's registration to be set up on the website, because we want to give the real current members first shot at registering. So within a week or so, we'll start making those calls. We broke it up between the three of us, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Any questions on that? Okay. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, I do the treasury and the database. I am rotating off the board at the end of this year, which means we need somebody else to do these positions. Before I took it on, there was a separate person to do the database and a separate person to do the treasury. And in my view, it made sense for one person to do it. However, the job has grown so much that, in my opinion, unless there's some super person out there that wants to do this, we'll separate those two positions. I'm looking to see if anybody has accounting experience. I don't. I just have my little personal checking account. That's why I work on a spreadsheet, but I think we need some advice on how to go forward with our bookkeeping. So if anybody has any experience, or somebody that, I think, and the board will discuss this, we need to bring somebody in to evaluate our system and see if there's a better way of doing this. Maybe get a QuickBooks or whatever. So if you know of somebody that may be willing to come in and consult with us, I'd appreciate hearing about that. Maybe tell Carol. But I am rotating off at the end of the year, and especially the treasury is a pretty important position. So
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And, thanks Shannon for that work. And it's a lot of detail also. So, yes.
Just to comment, the reason why you're rotating off the board is this is your 9th year serving as treasurer and as required by bylaws in this history. Bye-bye. But thank you very much. That's a long term to be doing what you did. Thank you very much.
Happy to help,
Yes, thank you. Yes.
but I am tired. Ready to pass the baton. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shannon. That is a lot of work. And you can see that people who are working here are really giving a lot. So we appreciate it. Who wants to? You? Okay.
Anyway, I submit information to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution in North Fulton, and it all goes digital. I have a list that's statewide, but it doesn't, most of the people don't pay that much attention, it's not really read. The website is our best information site, and also the phone line is still pretty good, and you get personal contact that way. And other than that, I don't have anything additional to do, but it's constantly changing. You could be in one month and the next month it's already changed as to how you put your information in the computer for the media.
Everything's automated.
Pardon? Yeah, and for Dr. Bruno, I'm going to look to see if maybe we can have some interviews with him on the news media, and I will try. But I wouldn't promise anything because you have to, I mean, they have so much other media that just flutters all the other profit or non-profit groups, and it's hard to get in.
Can you speak in the? Thanks, Sonia.
In relation to Dr. Brooke, are there some interviews that are out there on the interwebs that we can post on our website with Dr. Bruno?
Actually, I think he might have some on there. I mean, he's got that
Or
publication.
There's a lot of information about Dr. Bruno.
Yeah.
Already on the website. What we're attempting to do is get some interviews for this conference, for the conference coming up. And so we're contacting the media to see if we can get some interviews with him since he'll be coming in town. But there's a lot of information about Dr. Bruno. And also I'm glad you said that because if you go on the website and the registration page, you'll see several links that are associated with Dr. Bruno. And so take a look at those. That's quite a bit of it. In addition to his bio, I'm talking about it in addition to the bio. So thank you. Okay, thank you, Rita. Allie, hold on.
Okay. I think it's on. Do you hear me? Okay, I'm Allie Harrison, and my family and I are marching on with my husband, who is a survivor. And I volunteer as the friendly greeter, as you have noticed. And I'm your first point of contact, and I issue you your reusable name tag, which means that once you exit today, you just simply lay it on the table so you'll get it the next time. And I provide the sign-in sheet for you, so we need to keep a record of who's attending the meetings. I think that's going to be very important for this organization. And one of the reasons we have the name tags, of course, is to so you can get a glance at the member and that member's name. And to promote better communication, to give you permission to smile at each other. So when you put on your name tag, you know who's who, and you can communicate with each other. On the name tags are identified board members as well as the level of membership. And those membership levels are color-coded. As new members come in, once they sign in, the next meeting they will have their name tag. And we want them to come back, so we want to keep it going. Now for the conferences coming up, I will be doing the registration, and it's very important that registration is seamless because registration will make or break a conference. And some of you probably who've attended conferences, if it's a bad registration, that's what people are going to talk about, that the registration was terrible. So we want to have a seamless process. I'm going to need volunteers, which I'm going to reach out to some people. My girls especially will be helping me, my young lady.
Family affair, okay.
And then I'm going to involve my sisters. We will have greeters so that people know what to do, where registration is, and that sort of thing. So you'll be hearing more about it. If I reach out to you, I hope that you will serve.
Thank you. That's fantastic. All of these things are so important in our work and what we're doing. So thank you, Allie. Thank you, Shannon. And I'm going to very quickly go through the fundraising information. But let me also say that some of the numbers may differ a little bit, so go with Shannon's numbers because they were the last numbers. I think the numbers I have been before we got this last report, Shannon. So thank you so much. Quickly go through. We have fundraising at 3 levels. Basically, right now, it's the membership level and Georgia Gives, Giving Tuesday, and others. This past year in 2018, we had a membership renewal campaign at the beginning of the year, because one of the things that's been difficult is to get to people to pay their membership in the beginning of the year, the first of the year, because it makes such a difference in terms of our planning. So we have asked that members go. Our membership year is January 1st to December the 31st. And we have people who, from year to year, may, send their money later. And so we just want them to know that we really are trying to get the monies that we need to run the program, to do our operations and whatnot early on. We were going for 100%. You may have seen or remember the thermometer that we use. And we wanted to get 100% renewal. I know that's very, very aggressive. We had 92 people using our directory at that time, and 65 members had renewed in the first quarter. We gave an extension to see if we could get an additional number of people to renew, and an additional 4 came in. So we had, as I said, the additional 65. A renewal letter was sent out in late October, but in May and June, we added 11 members, and in August and October, we added another 5 members for a total of 81 members. So when someone who is new comes in, and the last quarter, we allow that person's dues to count for the upcoming year. But these are renewals, and people that we're saying to you at the beginning of every year. And I know Shannon would like to see that come in, to have that in the treasurer, at that time. So that's, what happened. Even though we didn't have the full complement that we wanted, you see it made a difference and made an impact in terms of the memberships that did come in, and the number of the amount of money that we were able to raise in that time. So we did have a significant increase, almost a double. So we had, for our Georgia Gives, which is our big annual giving, this is when you share with your family and friends and supporters and others that you're a polio survivor, that you belong to APA, and that this is a good time for them to show their support to you. We had 18 people totally give to the Georgia Gives this year. 17 members were online, one sent her check in by mail for a total of $1,380 for Georgia Gives. We had 39 reminder letters, which is the other method I told you that went out, and there was no dollars received. What happened though is that we had some money generated for the new year, but none for the current year. So what I did not add to the fundraising, but really ended up being additional monies, was the Christmas money that Shannon shared with you in terms of what was received there. But that money, you can say also, and the state giving that was given. We went, we talked about last year, or what we did in membership, and the $45, and Shannon shared that with you. Anything over $45 went to SNAP out of membership. Well, we changed that this year. And so all the non-membership money went to staff. All the membership money went to operations. Like I said, this is the numbers that I had at that time, so we'll want to substitute what Shannon had. But you can look at your information that was provided. The key thing there, you can see is a significant increase in SNAP dollars. We are going to talk more about SNAP at the next meeting that we have. Leslie Lee Stat has been doing quite a bit of work, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But this is what our fundraising looked like for 2018. We hope to bring in additional monies, as Wayne was saying, with the event that we're having with Dr. Bruno. But the main reason for Dr. Bruno's event is Dr. Bruno. Our kind of secondary objective is the fundraising piece, and we want to raise money, but we want to be able to have him in where he can meet and talk and interact with people. So just want to make that. So that is basically that was, yes.
How much does Georgia Gives take off the top of the contribution?
It is 2 point, do you remember that, Shannon?
What was your question?
How much does Georgia Give take off the top?
I don't remember the percentage. I have it written down somewhere.
Yeah,
It's like 10, it's not 10%, but it's.
I was gonna say we raised out of Georgia Gives that 3,000.
1380.
Yeah, 1380 was.
We had 1380, and I think we paid about 60. But that's not all Georgia Gives. Some of it's the Click and Pledge, which is some of those dollars.
Some of those dollars were memberships that were paid through Click and Pledge.
The memberships.
And some of them, you know, if Georgia Gives does not, says it's for a general donation, and as opposed, all right, Georgia Gives, Click and Pledge, when you're on it, you can specify if it's a general donation or for Georgia Gives Day. Some of them don't say it's for Georgia Gives, but it's on that particular day, so. But I don't specify it unless it actually says that.
Okay, I'm looking, I was using the report. So, on your Georgia Gives, page, you can see the number of people. You can't see how much it is that they take off the top. But I can get that information for you. I think it's 2.5 or something.
No, it's more than that.
It's more than that?
Mm-hmm. It's significant. It's, it's still, we're bringing in more than we were before.
Well, that was the thing is, we did this because we had another avenue for people to give. Mm-hmm. Even though there was a charge attached to it. And so we didn't have the same kind of monies generated when we didn't have the options. And so when we have the automated services, that's what we're really paying for with Click and Pledge. You remember, Allison, anything on that? So I'll have to see exactly because I can't remember how much it is right now. I just remember looking at the bottom line. But I know we brought in a lot more money as a result of opening it up and having to be able to for people to pledge online. I'm going to be able to, yeah. It made it easy. One thing is that they get an immediate receipt saying that they received the information. Wait for a check. I know that's one of the things that Shannon was able to improve. She took over. Was trying to process checks in a timely manner. So we have more information for you right now. Any other questions? On the comments? So I want to thank everybody for the fundraising. I think that has been very, very helpful. What we've been able to do. Let me just say while I'm pulling up the agenda, I have the new meeting schedules for everyone. Sandra, might have to hand this out to everybody, please. So and next month we're going to FODAC. And the purpose of going to FODAC is we're looking at building a relationship with them. You're going to receive a tour of the agency and have a chance to see the equipment, the services, meet the people, and see how we in APA can benefit from the partnership with FODAC. So that is something new that we're looking into. we're excited about that. They're excited about them coming to us. Vicki has been a supporter of FODAC for a long time and participates in their walk, roll, and run. Their walk, roll, and run, and actually was the winner last year of that event. And so I would like to, personally say that we're going to put that online because we really need to know how many people are definitely coming, because we are going to provide lunch for our members at that event. And so make sure the current members will have access to this service, and looking at how we can work together. We really need your input on that. Any questions about that? So that's March the 2nd, March the 2nd. Okay. So we will not be at the Shepherd Center. Don't come here. We won't be here. In fact, they'll be holding another activity in this room on that day. So it really works out good for us to be able to go to another site. Okay?
And it's still 1 to 3.
It's going to be 12 because of lunch and tour.
That's what I thought, so it should be marked on the calendar.
It should be what?
Says 1 to 3 on here.
Oh, 1 to 3. Does it say 1 to 3 or 1 to 2?
It says.
I mean 12 to 3.
May 4th says 12 to 4, but not March 2nd. So, yes, so I
That's
was just
wonderful.
saying to mark it in your calendars. For 12 to 2.
We're meeting at Bodak at noon, right?
Okay, meeting at Podak at noon. I'm sorry, that's not on there. Yeah.
It won't be an hour later.
And we, thank you. It is noon. Pardon me? FODAC is Friends of Disabled Adults and Children. Thank you for asking that. We just make assumptions. Did I
They
answer your
provide
question?
wheelchairs and braces and scooters for people that need help getting these things. I don't believe there's a financial requirement for you to go and get a wheelchair or something from them. And they take donations, right?
Yeah, the way that they're set up now, we're negotiating how we're going to work together, but where they were set up now, there is a $25 membership fee. That membership fee is for life. And you can go and you can get a rollator or crutches or a cane, or now if you have to have a scooter repaired or something like that, there may be a small minimal charge for something like that, but it's as a result of this service is greatly reduced as if you go on the outside to get something like that done. They have a lot of equipment and services that they offer. And that's the reason we want to go, so that people can see what they have. Also, people can turn in their equipment. So if you have a chance, look at FODAC's website. And in the meantime, I'm trying to remember if it's FODAC.org or FODAC.com. I can't remember. .org. Okay, FODAC.org. And take a look at that. That I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And it's if you need your walker or your rollator or your scooter in there, there are plenty. But if you get there and you find that you can't get around as well, they'll let you use one to get around in there, while we're looking. So that was pretty cool, because it was quite a bit of walking for me, and they helped me out when I had to do the walking. And so that's really good to know. They have toilets and a number of, different things that people might need, bedding activities and whatnot. It is, now, are there any questions about FODAC? None? Any questions? We are a little over 3 o'clock, and I'm very cognizant of the time. So,